What do you think about the lightings in Hong Kong?
The laser show's amazing.
It's beautiful, gorgeous. I like it.
However, behind the prosperity, there is a price to pay.
I'd feel very annoyed because it's infringing on my personal space, it's disturbing my sleep. It would be a problem.
With a myriad of neon lighting and LED screens, Hong Kong has a dazzling cityscape. But the excessive use of lighting causes light pollution that adversely affects the environment. More importantly, our health is at stake. In fact, there are several journals that suggest different effects caused by excessive illuminance from light pollution. According to a journal, Missing the Dark, it states that light pollution has negative impacts to humans' health, while another study from the American Academy of Neurology suggests similar findings. To investigate how excessive illuminance affects our health, we conducted a two-phase experiment. The first phase was the collection of illuminance data, and the second was an experimental study. Finally, we compared the results of the both phases.
Illuminance is defined as the amount of light measured on a plane surface. It is measured by the unit of lux. In other words, it is not just the intensity of light, but also a distance from it, because light disperses a long distance. In 2016, the Environment Bureau launched a scheme called the Charter on External Lighting. Shop owners are invited to switch off three kinds of external lightings, from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. They are the advertising, decorative, and promotional lightings. In this experiment, we used the lux meter to measure the light levels along the buildings in Tsim Sha Tsui to find out whether the region suffers from light pollution. Then we evaluate the difference between them and compare with the international standard. Two sets of illuminance data were collected before and after 11 p.m. We found that the average lux value before 11 p.m. ranged from 3,000 to 5,000 lux, while some of the data even being close to 10,000 lux. Although the data collected after 11 p.m. is lower than before 11 p.m., it is still significantly higher than the recommended standard of International Commission of Illumination. According to the standard for full-day light, the recommended light levels is around 10,000 lux, while the workplace is about 600 lux. Besides, a consultancy report done in 2011 recommended the light level near the residential area should be lower than 6 lux after 11 p.m. Obviously, all data exceeded the standard. Imagine, if those lightings are directly illuminated into your bedroom, what would you feel?
I mean, personally, I don't care about lights. Like, I can sleep even if my room is full of light. I don't care, and even if you care, you can put a mask on. I don't know, but yeah, I understand it can annoy some people, but to me, it might be fine. So it's okay.
From our interviewees, some thought that lighting does not affect their sleeping quality, but most of them didn't think so.
Maybe it's not like very practical because there's a lot of light going into my room and I can't sleep. So, but I don't have that problem actually. Like I have shutters in my house, so that's okay.
To find out if lightings do affect their sleeping quality, we conduct a 1-week experiment. In this test, we invite 20 participants and divide them into two groups, the experimental group and control group. We assume that they have same sleep duration and don't have any behaviors to disrupt their sleep, like drinking coffee. The experimental group needs to sleep in a room with lights on, which has an illuminance around 115 lux. It can imitate the residents' living environments that suffer from the disturbance of light, while another group only requires sleeping in a dark room, which has an illuminance level below 10 lux. In this phase, the participants will need to do the strobe test before and after the experiment. It was first proposed by J. Riley Strobe in 1935, which is used to evaluate cognitive functions like attention and processing speed. It's a simple task. that participants require to name the font color, but not the word itself, as fast as possible. Here's the calculation for the test. The full mark is 20. Then, we will find out the difference between the score before and after the experiment. After that, we add them up and divide it by the sample size, which is 10. Finally, we compare the difference.
Based on our data, both groups show reduction in average score of the stroke test after 1 week. In the second test, there is only 5% decrease for the control group, while the experimental group shows us a notable decrease of 30%. Analyzing the results, we deduce that excessive lighting is a factor lowering our sleeping quality and health. However, our experiment is constrained by several limitations. They are: number 1, instrumental error. Lux value can be inaccurate due to constraint in device. Number 2, experimental error. Small sample size can lead to inaccuracy in the results. Number 3, personal error. Stroke test results can be affected by personal factors. To conclude, excessive lighting adversely affects our sleeping quality. When we are exposed to lighting during bedtime, it inhibits the secretion of sleeping hormone. Then, our biological clock could be disrupted, even leading to insomnia. Worse still, long-term insomnia causes mental problems, such as depression and scattered brain. Last but not least, we become more vulnerable to diseases due to weaker immunity.
Behind the prosperity, is it fair we compromise residents' health only for beautiful night views? Who should be responsible? The government, the shop owners, or the general public?